Hi everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to go over what I call the Python method. I don't know if anyone else has already come up with something like this or not, but this is basically a certain style of play that I've noticed I'm often implementing when I go on winning streaks and playing at my absolute best. Now, I am roughly floating. I float between 1900 and 2000 ELO. Actually, right now I'm even a little bit lower. So keep that in mind. That's the type of play that you guys are going to see. So if you're below that rating, this will help you for sure. But if you're above that rating, I don't know, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But yeah, without further ado, guys, let's just dive right into it. I'm going to show you guys what I mean when I say the Python method. Before we do, I would appreciate if you guys leave a like and subscribe. It really, really helps. Leave some comments below. Let me know what you guys think. And let's get started. So I'm playing the black pieces in this particular game. And I actually thought when I was making this video looking for games to show you that it would be a d4 opening a London system, because that's what I play as white. It tends to be very boring, positional. But anywho, this is not. This is actually going to be a Tennyson gambit, which, as you guys may or may not know, is can be a pretty tricky gambit. There's some traps where you lose the queen if you're not careful. And as you guys can see, I'm already making mistakes right out of the opening. So I don't know too much of the theory here. This was a little while ago, and I know I need to go over the Tennyson gambit again. I just don't see it a whole lot. But anywho, so the game goes on, and you guys can see that black already, according to the computer, has a little bit of an advantage here. It really comes down to whether white knows theory better than you, and whether black knows how to respond to this. But yeah, at this point, black has a slight advantage, and I'm a pawn up. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's a gamut. I'm a pawn up. We go for some trades. He actually ends up taking on e4. I make a blunder on h6. But we're just going to skip ahead where I can show you the point of this video, all right? So a bunch of trades happen, right? And I grab this pawn. So after everything is said and done, we trade a bunch of pieces. The queens are off the board, and I'm a pawn up. So I'm going to just pause the video right here. Already, what does that tell you guys? If I'm a pawn up and the queens are off the board, what should we be doing? Even if the queens were on the board, but what should we be doing? We should be trading down and converting. Simplify it, trading down. You're a pawn up. Don't, try to be a hero. Don't do anything crazy and fancy. Just simplify. So here, white castles. I take the pawn on c2. That's a second pawn, all right? And now this is where the Python method starts. You are a pawn up, or you're two pawns up. And if we take a look at this position, can we say that white has really nice compensation for it? No. This bishop is looking pretty sad. Even if you wanted to get onto a better diagonal, like give me a check here, I'm just going to shut down all the light squares, stick my knight probably here on d7, bring my bishop out somewhere here, and this is rock solid. So they don't have any real compensation. They don't have some crazy attack for those pawns. The Python method is all about getting a small advantage, so a pawn or two pawns out of the opening, out of the middle game. Oftentimes it's because your opponent just blundered them. It's not because they were purposeful, like in a real gambit where you gambit the pawns, but you need to be ready for an attack. No, they blundered or they made a mistake. Now you're two pawns up. What do? The idea is to just grind down your opponent like a python. You're just going to take them and squeeze them and give them no chances to fight back. So what I mean by that, guys, is like I said, don't be fancy. Just play forcing moves that are going to give you the sure, the kind of clear path towards victory without complicating things. You don't want to get into this crazy open tactical position all of a sudden, because that's what white wants, because they don't have, if you just convert everything, then they're two pawns down and you win that game. So you want to just constrict your opponent like a boa constrictor, give them zero chances. So at this point in this position, right, you can see like here, I just dropped the bishop back. Okay, it looks like there's better moves. I could put it here, but I thought, well, maybe, I don't know, eventually he'll bring the rook over and I'll have to move it again. At this point, all I'm thinking, I think, at that time at least, is how can I win this simply? So rook over. I develop my pieces. This actually comes with tempo, so I'm not sure if rook e1 was the best move, because I hit the rook with tempo. He can't block with the bishop. It's just a free move for me. It's a free tempo. I develop my knight, and okay, he plays kind of a funny, fancy looking knight d5 move. I obviously can't take it because the pawn is pinned, but I don't need to do anything. I just long castle. If he wants to take my bishop, like I said, I'm 2 pawns up. Any trades are pretty much good for me at this point. He goes back with the knight, okay? Bishop d3. At this point, and you hear this all the time, guys, you know, when you're up in material, trade down. You trade down material because it will make it easier to convert. And this especially goes if you're low on time trouble. If you're low on time or in time trouble, sorry. Just trade down pieces. Just trade down pieces and make your life simpler. It's much easier to convert a position with 1 or 2 pieces on the board and not 5. Here, I force a trade. I'm attacking both the rook and the bishop. He's got to do something about it. He takes. I take, and also I'm developing my rook. So these are kind of multi-purpose moves. And at this point, I'm going to stop the video right here. Look at this position and tell me what is the first idea that comes to your guys' mind in terms of an idea that black can implement here that's going to be good. Let's take a look at the position. Okay, what I have in mind at least is very, very simple. I have a rook on the d file. I own the d file. What should I do? Just double the rooks up. And this is often something I notice, again, when I'm on winning streaks or just playing really, really good, is that I don't blunder out of the opening. My opponent blunders, makes a mistake. I get, you know, a pawn or two. And then I very often have an easy position with just like, I control one of the open files and I just stay on that open file. I prevent my opponent from moving forwards with their pieces and I infiltrate and trade everything. Very, very easy plan. So that's basically what I'm going to do here. I have a nice rook there. I'm going to double up. It might not be the best move. As you guys can see, the computer wants knight d4, and that's totally fine. Yeah, knight d4 looks totally fine, but I'm not going for anything fancy. I'm just going for what I know is going to be at least a decent or good move. Rook over to c2. This looks, yeah, I don't actually know why. I mean, so by the way, my opponent's not making the best of moves because he's moving the same piece twice. I suppose this bishop can't really get out, so but let's see here. Is B, just at first glance, yeah, like b3 looks like a better move so they can get the bishop out, you know, try to start activating their pieces and contest the d file. One thing you'll notice is yeah, they're just wasting moves in my opinion. This isn't really threatening anything. This isn't threatening anything. And I own the d file. Now, what am I going to do? Here, I just thought, I'm just going to drop the bishop back because this could be a liability. He's probably going to kick it out anyways. And maybe he's trying some tactic where he wants to like threaten my knight and then my bishop's undefended. So I just thought, you know what? To make it simple, I'm going to drop the bishop back. I can always go back, swing around in this diagonal. But white doesn't have a whole lot of options here. So, guys, again, he plays b3 at this point. He very clearly, the plan is very, very clear. He needs to develop his bishop to get his rook out. So what am I going to do? Obviously, I'm going to do this. Why? Because it hits the rook. He might end up losing that rook if he's not careful. I don't know, just because it's, you know, it doesn't have many squares. But either way, he plays the best move, which is bishop b2, and more trades for me. Forces another trade. Okay, so I'm just forcing trades. He takes. What am I going to do now? I'm going to encourage more trades. I'm going to infiltrate on the second rank, encourage more trades. If he trades with me, which probably isn't a very good move. Yeah, now I just have a rook on the second rank. I'm 2 pawns up. I have more activity and I have more material. This is an easy win for black. And he did he trade? He did actually trade here. Rook c2. That's another free pawn. Yeah, and you guys could, like, the game goes on, but this is just basically like, look how easy of a win this was. And it's not even like white is playing terrible moves from here on out. A lot of these are excellent moves. It's just, there's nothing for white to really do. Black is over 5 points up in terms of the evaluation bar. There's just nothing to do. And all of this started from a little innocent pawn or two out of the opening and then just grinding, you know, my opponent down. I want to show you guys another example of this, especially because a lot of you, well, some of you at least, might play the London opening, and what the London system is reputed for as being boring, okay? And it's true, it can be boring, but there are lots of attacking ideas. However, we're not going to go into the attacking ideas. I'm going to show you guys one particular variation that I see all the time, and I recommend playing this if you're, I don't know, anywhere 2000 elo or below. Can't say what happens above 2000, but I have gotten so many forced wins here So let me just show you. It's basically an Indians game. So King's Indian. The move order can differ, right? This is what I play. All of this is theory. You guys will see. Is it black to move? Yeah. Castles, H3, and then D6. D6 is really what I look out for because basically it's preparing the E5. I go for C4, and then there's a couple different move orders here. Basically, the position, no matter what, is usually rook over, knight C3. Maybe he brings the knight out to D7. You guys might see, let's see here. I'm going to look at my games. I already have, the computer says I have 15 games in this position. I know that I have way, way more. I cannot tell you guys. I've actually had this same exact position like multiple games in a row. I remember it. But anyways, different move orders. The position is basically like this. And black is preparing E5. There's a little tactic here. At top level play, I've seen that this doesn't always, like this might not always work, but certainly under 2000 ELO, do this. It's easy. They're going to play E4, sorry, E5. Take, and you can actually sack with the knight because if they take, you're going to displace the rook. And now you're a pawn up. Okay, so boom. White is a pawn up. Look at the eval bar. White has an advantage. What should we be doing here? Just convert. Here, there's a lot of different ways to go about doing that. I think if we go back here, it will show my win chances in a position like this. So if we go like all the way back here, apparently C6 is like what I have the most, what I struggle the most with, but E5. So if they play E5, I'm winning 56% of the time. It's better than 50, I suppose. Could be better, but B6, it's another move. I win 56% of the time. Knight H5, I win 83% of the time there. And C5, I win 60% of the time. So I'm already like, in terms of the stats, looking pretty good here. Anyways, this is just a typical example right here of where I would think to apply this method. Oftentimes, actually, black blunders another pawn here, and then truly it's an easy strategy. I know that it might not be the very best, but I'm going to go for contesting the D file and just trade every piece down and win the endgame 2 pawns up or a pawn up. So I'm not going to go into the rest of this game, but just to give you guys another idea of what that might look like. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. I'll keep it short and sweet in today's video. Just to, you know, sum it all up once again. This is called the Python method because you are squeezing your opponent. And once again, when I say squeezing or constricting your opponent, you are getting an advantage out of the opening, probably a pawn or 2 pawns, some kind of material advantage, and you're just going to try to constrict your opponent's movements and moves and possibilities. You're going to play forcing moves, and you're going to try to prevent them from attacking you, from infiltrating with their pieces, and creating a very open, complicated tactical game. You don't want that. If you are up 2 pawns, you guys might watch all sorts of different grandmasters or streamers, whatever, like Danya, especially the chess bras. If you guys have watched Building Habits, Amon does this all the time. He'll win a pawn or 2, and then he's like, okay, what are we going to do? Trade down. We know what we're going to do. And they win. And this is just a strategy that you can apply all the time. In particular, in online rapid, especially blitz and bullet games, anywhere, even up to like, I would imagine 2,200, 2,300 people are still making crazy mistakes all the time. And definitely, you know, around 15, 1,600 ELO or lower, people are blundering pawns all the time. They might not be blundering pieces, but they're blundering pawns. And this is why I said this method's very useful, I think, for if you're stuck at 15, 16, maybe even 17, 1,800. It's very useful because your opponent should not be blundering pieces. If they do, I mean, it should be dead lost as soon as they do that. It's more about blundering pawns, small little mistakes and inaccuracies, right? And you need to know how to convert those. And that is really hard. Converting winning positions can be really hard. This is, in other words, a way to also convert winning positions. You get those 2 pawns, 1 pawn, 2 pawn, whatever, and you simplify things. You trade pieces, grind your opponent down, squeeze them like a python. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it's helpful. Try it out. Let me know what you guys think. And if you're interested in some more tips to get past the 1,600 ELO range, make sure to check out my video below on how to punish your opponents. You need to learn how to punish your opponent's mistakes and inaccuracies to really go beyond the 1,600 ELO range. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.